So the YouTubers and the content creators are fighting, honey. So TS Madison has supposedly sent Tasha K a cease and desist because Tasha K has decided to take the side of the DL whisperer who has had a protective order placed on him by TS Madison and her friend and business partner Dominique Morgan. So we're going to get into a little bit of a background here. So I just did a video covering the protective order that was granted for TS Madison because the DL whisperer had drove by her house yelling for her to come outside, and also she had a few recordings of him actually sending some threats her way, and she's also claiming to be seeking a criminal charges for the DL whisperer, and they are reporting that Dominique Morgan will be trying to pursue similar charges against the DL Whisperer as well. Now, allegedly, this is supposed to stem from when T.S. Madison did an interview with Nene Leakes, and she claimed that she was not gay and she doesn't participate in homosexual activity because she is a transgender woman. T.S. Madison is saying that after that interview, the DL Whisperer began harassing her, cyber stalking her, sending threats, and showed up at her house last month in January. But according to the DL Whisperer, all the transgender girlies started coming for him because he did content and made videos on the interview and criticized not only T.S. Madison but other transgender women. So he claimed that T.S. Madison's friends like Dominique Morgan and other transgender women began to harass and bully him online, even doxing him, which then pushed him to his breaking point, which is why he started making threats and eventually drove by her house and was trying to catch her outside. DL Whisperer is also, I believe, trying to seek a protective order. He started a GoFundMe because he needs to relocate. He was doxxed online, and it's just a lot of back and forth going on. So Tasha K, who did an interview with the DL Whisperer, we know her stance on the transgender community. She decided to take to her Instagram, stated in a post that any information that the DL Whisperer cannot put out on social media because he has the TPO against him, she would be willing to utilize her platform to spread this information. She then announced that she was going to be going live and she was going to be dropping some information about an indictment that might be ready to come down against not only T.S. Madison but the business partner Dominique Morgan. So when T.S. Madison got wind of this video that Tasha was going to be doing on her, she then had her attorney send Tasha a cease and desist, to which Tasha basically laughed at and told her, baby, wait till I drop this content, then let me know if you want to send me a cease desist. You ain't even heard what I got to say yet. So me wanting to know what the tea was that Tasha K had over there, I went and watched her YouTube live. So in Tasha Live, she breaks down the fact that T.S. Madison started a nonprofit organization of her own, and this organization received funding and started this type of house that they referred to as a starter house. And so the starter house was supposed to be providing housing and security and transform the lives of Black trans women. And I believe the starter house officially opened in March of 2025. Well, Dominique Morgan comes into the picture because she is listed as the co-founder of T.S. Madison's Starter House. Now, Dominique does have a criminal record, but she also has an extensive history of being an activist and fighting for trans and the LGBTQ community. Dominique also has a lot of accolades. She's won awards. She's had a street named after her in her hometown of Omaha, Nebraska. So it's a lot of stuff. And she's, like I said, she's had several nonprofit organizations and also sits on several boards for several different nonprofit organizations. So the girl is not new to this. She's true to this. But this is where stuff gets a little funny. Tasha drops the tea that Dominique was apparently indicted in the end of 2024. And so I found this press release in regards to Dominique, and we're going to take a read because this is with Tasha K. Spilled on her channel. So it says former executive director of Brooklyn nonprofit indicted for allegedly stealing nearly $100,000 of funds meant for indigent bail program. Brooklyn District Attorney Eric Gonzalez today announced that the former executive director of a Brooklyn based nonprofit aimed at supporting Black trans people has been indicted for grand larceny and falsifying business records for allegedly siphoning money purportedly meant to bail individuals out of jail and used it instead for personal expenses. When asked for proof of payment, the defendant allegedly submitted bail receipts for individuals who had not been arrested at that time. District Attorney Gonzalez said the theft of nonprofit funds deprives communities of critical resources, erodes public trust, and cheats donors who give in good faith. The defendant in the case allegedly stole bail funds meant to secure pretrial release of indigent defendants, instead using the money for personal benefit. We will continue to investigate and prosecute all types of fraud to ensure that funds are not misappropriated or stolen. The district attorney identified the defendant as Dominique Morgan, 42, of Atlanta, Georgia. She was arraigned today before Brooklyn Supreme Court Justice Danny Chun on an indictment charging her with one count of second-degree grand larceny and 23 counts of first-degree falsifying business records. She was released without bail in order to return to court on December 18th, 2024. The defendant is facing a maximum sentence of 5 to 15 years in prison if convicted of the top count. The district attorney said that the defendant served as an executive director of the Okra Project, a Brooklyn based not for profit that provides mutual aid and other resources to the Black trans community throughout the country. Her annual salary was over $200,000. While not an official program, the defendant, in her role as director, announced that Okra would start bailing people out of jail, although she allegedly did not take any steps to get the initiative up and running. It is alleged that between July 14th, 2022 and July 27th, 2022, the defendant had approximately $99,000 transferred to her personal account in order to purportedly use those funds to pay for bail. Instead, she used the money on a $19,000 California closet renovation, car payments for a Mercedes Benz, purchases at apparel stores, and other expenses, including meals. When asked by Okra for proof of the payment towards bail, she allegedly submitted purported bail receipts for 23 individuals who were supposedly arrested in Fulton County, Georgia, and Douglas County, Nebraska. An audit by Okra revealed that those receipts were fraudulent and that no such persons were arrested in those counties at the time. The district attorney thanked supervising financial investigator Susan Ryan of the district attorney's asset for forfeiture and crimes against Revenue Bureau, an intelligent analyst, and the district attorney investigation divisions for their assistance in this investigation. The case is being prosecuted by Senior Assistant District Attorney Tamara Eldenstein. Then it just goes on to name all the other people that are prosecuting this case. So, yes, there we have it. Dominique Morgan was indicted up there in Brooklyn, New York for apparently stealing $99,000 from her organization. And I will say that's a doggone shame because it's like people really be needing their help. And people start these doggone nonprofit organizations claiming that they want to help these people, but they get this money and they do otherwise with it. And I really do believe that it should be stricter rules and mandates placed on nonprofit organizations, because Dominique is not the first and she will not be the last that does stuff like this. And it's just a shame. And, for her to claim that she wants to help her community, but is in turn is stealing from them, that. And so, of course, TS Madison, now that, it's been public information that Dominique has a criminal history, but it's not just history anymore, because this was a new charge that she caught. And according to Tasha K, she pled guilty and is waiting to be sentenced. And that sentencing is supposed to take place in April of this year, according to Tasha K. And they say, oh, she's still working, with nonprofit organizations, and now she's co-founding this house with TS Madison. Of course, people are going to start putting the microscope on TS Madison. And so that is where the beef with the DL Whisperer comes back into play, because he is the first person that I heard mention that TS Madison and Dominique were over there scamming. So, according to the DL Whisperer and Tasha K, and this information is alleged that Dominique supposedly wired $200K to TS Madison and helped get this house started. But they are stating that there were no occupants in this starter house of TS Madison's. Nobody was living there, but she was getting funding to run this home. Now, the DL Whisperer and Tasha K are saying it wasn't until after he brought the spotlight that they may be misappropriating the funds they're receiving for that starter house, is that T.S. Madison tried to cover her tracks by then moving someone into the starter house. I don't believe that she should be sitting on any type of boards or dealing with any type of nonprofits in the capacity of dealing with any money. But who knows? Maybe that's why she has now teamed up with T.S. Madison, who can then be the front person and be the person to receive the funds. And, she's just kind of getting some out of showing her how to navigate this world. I don't know. These are just my opinions on the information that was provided to me. But I will say that I believe this saga has just begun. Y'all drop down below in the comments and let me know what y'all think about all of this. Don't forget to smash that like button, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye.